So, Richard Childress Racing's Austin Dillon has lost his appeal, and the penalties issued to him after the controversial ending to the NASCAR Cup Series race at Richmond Raceway will stand. The National Motorsports Appeal Panel upheld the penalties, which saw Dillon's Richmond win not count towards his playoff eligibility, and lost 25 driver and owner points. However, they have reduced the 3-race suspension for spotter Brandon Bennett down to 1 race, the photo taken there by Sean Garner from Getty Images. Now, the 3 people on the panel were Tom Dillon alongside Kelly Hulsby and Tommy Wheeler, who released a joint statement saying that NASCAR represents elite motorsports, and as such, its drivers are expected to demonstrate exemplary conduct if its series championships are to be validated. In this case, the line was crossed. Well, with me now is USRN commentator Matthew Owens as well, who's been on the show a couple of times. Hello, Matthew. I consider you an oracle in motorsports as well. So I think you're very well versed to answer this question. How do you feel about the decision?
Well, thank you for that, by the way, and thank you for having me on. The decision was the right decision. Not to say that I'm not mildly surprised by it, because there was no precedent before this action and this incident of stripping playoff eligibility away from a driver that won a race in the regular season. We've been doing this for 10 years now, and that had never happened before. So because of that, I am a little mildly surprised. I believe I commented on this show last week after it happened. I thought that there would be a non-zero chance that RCR could win this appeal. But as you mentioned and you laid out the reasons why they didn't, and obviously I think we all agree, everyone except Richard Childress Racing believes that that was the right decision. And I loved the statement about NASCAR being a premier sport, a premier series of motor racing. It absolutely hit the right tone with the statement, and it's the correct decision. I also actually think, and maybe I'm in the minority here, I think it was also the right decision to lower the suspension for the spotter, because as you guys talked about last week, and I was completely with you on it, you know, he said what he said on the radio, saying for Austin to wreck him. I don't know how that got 3 races, while the action of actually wrecking Hamlin got nothing as far as suspension goes. So I think all around they got it right here on this appeal. And I don't see any reason why this second appeal, or whatever you want to call it, would be any different. But yeah, I think they got the right decision for sure. It was going to be very difficult to come into this and prove that it wasn't intentional. All the SMT data showed what it showed. You weren't going to say, well, that provides a shadow of a doubt. You weren't going to get that here.
Yeah, we all said it cut and dry, wasn't it, as well? Ben has come in. Hello, Ben. Saying, thank goodness RCR needs to just take the L and keep the W. I think that's quite interesting. Jeremy Clements won his Xfinity appeal in 2022. To add back into that, he did, didn't he, as well? Why is Austin Dillon's spotter suspension 1 race? That's crazy. So Adam is of the opinion it maybe. Are you, Adam, that it should be the 3 races for telling him to wreck? I think they both should have been suspended for a race weekend. That was my opinion. I think now that the spotters served the 1 race penalty, that should be fine. So let's get on to Richard Childress Racing's statement coming in now that they've released in reply to this. It says, Richard Childress Racing is disappointed in the results of today's hearing in front of the National Motorsports Appeal Panel. We respect the NASCAR appeals process, but we do not believe that today's outcome reflects the facts presented. We plan to appeal the decision to the final appeal officer. So they appealed it. And then they've appealed the appeal, And now they're going to take it to the final appeal. So it's getting a bit silly, isn't it? As Adam says, yes, I do, Josh. Austin Dillon Spotter deserves 3 races. Okay, so 3 races. Okay. So, yeah.
I just want to know what facts were presented. Like, again, as I said a moment ago, it was going to be really hard to go into that building and slam your fist on the desk and prove without a shadow of a doubt that what he did was intentional with the data and the radio communication with the spotter and, well, just the eye test, which was so obvious in the moment. So I want to know what new facts were presented and why they think that it was going to, why they thought it was going to change the original decision, and then why they think it's going to change it on a second attempt. I mean, sure, you can say, should they try every avenue? Yeah, okay. I probably would too. I would feel, I didn't feel confident that they would overturn it the first time. I would feel less confident now, but I just want to know what facts were presented. I want to know what the game plan was when they went into the room, or if it was virtual. I want to know what was laid out as in facts/new facts presented to the appeals committee.
I do too, because it doesn't make sense as to how you could even build a case against that. It's like, in my opinion, it's you've got the murderer caught over the body with the murder weapon right in their hand. You can't really get away with it. So it'll be interesting to see what they said, and maybe they had some GPS technical data, and they argued the case that it was a spur of the moment thing. It wasn't premeditated, and I don't know. I would really like to see that. Let's hope that somebody on the NASCAR team gets some info on the journalist panel in the media center, and it all comes like maybe this weekend at the press conferences as well at Daytona. That would be one to tune into, and any news that we have will bring it to you in our pre-race show as well. But it's not going to get overturned, is it? It's pretty much like they've stamped it.
Maybe there were people at RCR that watches USA Network a lot, because NASCAR's on there, and they caught some Law and Order and said, hey, I know how to get us out of this. Here's the new stuff that we're going to present. And they tried to Law and Order their way out of it.